Today, we are going to talk about the Great Vowel Shift. The Great Vowel Shift was a major change in the pronunciation of the English language that took place in England between 1350 and 1700. The Great Vowel Shift was first studied by Otto Jespersen (1860–1943), a Danish linguist and Anglicist, who coined the term. Because English spelling was becoming standardized in the 15th and 16th centuries, the Great Vowel Shift is responsible for many of the peculiarities of English spelling. The values of the long vowels form the main difference between the pronunciation of Middle English and Modern English, and the Great Vowel Shift is one of the historical events marking the separation of Middle and Modern English. Before the Great Vowel Shift, these vowels had consonantal values much like those remaining in Italian and liturgical Latin. However, during the Great Vowel Shift, the two highest long vowels became diphthongs, and the other five underwent an increase in tongue height, with one of them coming to the front. The principal changes with the vowels shown in the International Phonetic Alphabet are roughly as follows. However, exceptions occur. The transitions were not always complete, and there were sometimes accompanying changes in orthography. Middle English, A fronted to A ligature, and then raised to open E, and in many dialects diphthongized in Modern English to A, as in make. The in the Middle English words in question had arisen earlier from lengthening of shortening open syllables and from French loan words, rather than from original Old English because the latter had in the meantime been raised to Middle English open O. The exact causes of the shift are continuing mysteries in linguistics and cultural history. But some theories attach the cause to the mass migration to the southeast part of England after the Black Death, where the difference in accents led to certain groups modifying their speech to allow for a standard pronunciation of vowel sounds. The different dialects and the rise of a standardized middle class in London led to changes in pronunciation, which continued to spread out from the city. The sudden social mobility after the Black Death may have caused the shift, with people from lower levels in a society moving to higher levels. Another explanation highlights the language of the ruling class. The medieval aristocracy had spoken French, but, by the early 1500s, they were using English. Whereas English spelling was becoming standardized in the 15th and 16th centuries, the Great Vowel Shift is responsible for many of the peculiarities of English spelling. Spellings that made sense according to Middle English pronunciation were retained in Modern English because of the adoption and use of the printing press, which was introduced to England in the 1470s by William Caxton and later Richard Pynson, and when William Caxton started printing at Westminster in the late summer of 1476. He was painfully aware of the uncertain state of the English language. In his prologues and epilogues to his translations, he made some revealing observations on the problems that he had encountered as translator and editor. At this time, sentence structures were being gradually modified, but many remained untidy. You can see some part of a page from William Caxton's edition of Cicero's De Senectute. Here comes the references to the sources I've taken for this lecture information. Thanks for your attention.